Happy Halloween, Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen. Let me ask you, has there been enough blood? Has there been enough carnage for you in this 2024 season? Or are you expecting more? We thought it would stop weeks ago, and yet the chaos has continued. What macabre, gruesome, insane events, circumstances have yet to arrive, will happen. Join I, your captain for the spooktacular ride, for a Week 9 preview. And before we begin, take a moment, like and subscribe, help us get out there. And like always, Fantasy League, take a moment to push away all the distractions. Find something to drink, wet the whistle. Find something, a little snack. It's been a long day. Maybe it's early in the morning. Reward yourself. Wife and kids, job, papers, distractions out the window for the next 45 minutes. It's all about the Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen. I hope you like the costume. And the headphones kind of stifle the hat, but the uniform is adorned as I lead you all. I am your captain, so please don't forget to show the respect in the chat. Either way, we hope you're having a good time. We're hoping you're safe out there this Halloween. And as always, get ready to turn that volume up for the sultry sounds of yours truly, and let us start. We've got so much on the line, and I will say we're going to start off with a game that is very close, but it's at the very bottom. This is a huge situation, though. So let us break down game 1 of Week 9. It is Josh Johnson taking on Jack Little Raven. Josh, you're sitting at 2-6. It's 4 losses in a row. The only thing I can tell you is that, at least in this game, you're taking on an opponent who has lost 6 games in a row. You got an opening win in Week 2, but it's not been good since then. And, a trade. I don't know if that trade is going to work in your favor. You sure gave up a lot, Jack. We'll get to that in just one moment. Let's start with Josh's team. Jared Goff coming in as the quarterback, had a bunch of touchdowns, but not a lot of yards. But Detroit and Green Bay, it's a classic. And it's one where I think this will go past its projections. J.K. Dobbins and Alexander Madison, running backs 1 and 2. I do like bringing up Madison here. Cincinnati's defense can be had, and J.K. Dobbins has been looking good and gets Cleveland. So with Watson at the helm, the offense changes, but the defense, maybe plus or minus some motivation, can still be ran on. Puka Nacua and Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's got to have a better week than 1 reception and 3 yards. You're hoping Puka Nacua hits those double digits once again. Dallas Goedert, it looks like he is not going to play, so you may want to replace your tight end there. I thought the Tyler Conklin play tonight was a good idea. Deontay Johnson, looks like he may just be doing punt returning, so we'll see what his role is going to be, but I'm probably not going to play him this week, Josh. Buffalo's defense and Fair Barron, the kicker. Other than that, there's not really a lot going on here on the bench. I imagine Tyler Conklin and Austin Eckler are going to have to come up and play in this game. It still is a projection that's less than 100 points. Jack, taking a look at you, sir, we see the biggest thing is that you were desperate there for an RB2. I think you could have got a little bit more. When I said, using Jamar Chase as a trade piece, I didn't mean give him away. Absolutely crazy. You're putting a lot of faith into Raheem Mostert. I get he had a big game last week. You're hoping that Zay Flowers remains the wide receiver 1, if you will, but the passing game has been lackluster. This offense runs through Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, their legs specifically, but just, everything in the passing game has just been so inconsistent for Baltimore. So a bit of a gamble. I get you do maintain your depth, but I feel like you could have walked away with a much better running back given this trade. Nevertheless, Kirk Cousins, who I think is going to have a monster game this week against Dallas. It's the highest projected over-under in the NFL this week. And yeah, I think you will see another big day for Kirk Cousins here. You're really hoping Travis Etienne plays, but Philadelphia, the defense, you can't actually run on them. They're one of the highest teams in the red zone allowing touchdowns. You saw even Chase Brown only had 34 yards last week on the ground, but still was able to fall into the end zone. So you like that. And then same with Buffalo. Buffalo's very banged up. Front seven, a lot of replacements. So we saw Cam Akers was able to score a touchdown on them. So I do believe that this week it's viable. It's just the long term. You cannot lose. We'll get to that here in a minute. Evan Ingram, I actually think you have, especially if Brian Thomas is not going to play, you will have the player who this offense is going to move through. So expect a big day from him. DK Metcalf, he is questionable. Didn't play last week. I know you're monitoring that, but obviously if he plays, he is a go for your roster. That is Seattle, the defense, McPherson, the kicker. I will say DJ Moore has a nice matchup with Arizona, but you already know I have the contempt. But, given like how weird it's been with Cortland Sutton, and then, you just know that you have to pass on Baltimore. We imagine, I hate to say it, Denver's probably going to play from behind, but the one thing that's nice is Josh is hurting, so you can maybe move some pieces around here. The biggest thing is, Josh, you lose this one. You're one game away from playoff elimination. A big win. 3 wins here is huge, and it gets you really into the middle pack to steal a fifth or sixth seed. And then, obviously, Jack, at this point in time, you are winning and getting into the playoffs, or one loss, playoff elimination. You're playing for pride and a better pick in 2025. So, like we all do know, I have to pick one, and I will say this game's going to be close. It is already if we bring in Tyler Conklin and we move around who could be a flex. I don't think Deontay is somebody you're going to be able to play. I think you're going to have to play Eckler, and they play the Giants, so I actually don't think it's a horrible play. I think this 10 points is real. I think this game becomes like a 1-point game, which means it can go either way. But I do like the running back play, and the wide receiver play can really pay off. So I actually believe that Josh does get that week 3 win. I think you just gave a little bit too much away here, Jack, and it's just not going to be enough to get you over the hump this week and eliminated from the playoffs here in week 9. Game number 2 features Forrest, Heart of the Cards, Dozier taking on Aaron Felch, and both these owners off of big wins last week. Unfortunately, you see the longevity come into play here, Forrest, as even though you were able to put up some good numbers last week, it looks like it's going to be a little tougher with matchups going into this week. And then it's a 22-point projection, and it's in favor of Aaron. And let me say this, Aaron, before we break down this matchup, there's always one team in a league. It very much was Luke Gilbertson last year, one of your fellow Wisconsinites who was scoring fantastic, but I mean, it was like week 12 and had over 1,000 points scored against him. And it may have even been like week 11, 10 or 11. I mean, it was just nothing he could do for people scoring against him, and would easily be a dark horse to be a semifinal team given, his scoring alone. And so his record just didn't bear that out. Right now, you're sitting at 3-5. And I think that is it has people underestimating you. If there's a team that I had to pick in the lower half of the bracket, if you will, of the ladder, you would be my dark horse to make it into the playoffs. You have a fantastic team. You're a little light at RB2, but we're all light somewhere. And I just think that you have some crazy potential moving on into the latter part of the season. And this, again, bears out here in this matchup. Forrest, at the end of the day, you're playing backups. You're playing people who are filling in for others that are starters but are injured. So you're depending on that. No Debo as well. Unfortunately, that really hurts you. So let us start this breakdown as Jameis Winston comes off a 30-point game. It was a crazy start. Can you find the heart of the cards and do it again? But I've been preaching this since the beginning of the season. Jameis Winston is for real and can do things with this team, and I'm not surprised that things went the way they did. So kudos to you for having the balls to play him for us, not that you had many other choices. Aaron Jones and Tank Bigsby, I think a lot has to do with Etienne here, and I will say I do like the matchup with Algier, so just something to monitor there. Tank Dell, who I think should benefit quite well here, especially now that there's no Stephon Diggs. Cedric Tillman, we saw what happened with that stack. Can it get you 60 points again? Unlikely, but who knows? It's fantasy football. We've seen crazier. Travis Kelce comes off a 25-point game. You could use that again to knock off a very tough Aaron Felch here. And Xavier Worthy hoping for that boomer bust play in that flex position here. We'll have to wait until Monday night to find out. Maybe be a Monday night miracle and see if you can pull that one off. New England's defense and Seibert, the kicker, it's a projection of 102 as we speak. But, yeah, your opponent is fully loaded, ready to go, no bye weeks. Here it comes. So let's start with Jalen Hurts, who has Jacksonville. Yeah, I imagine this is going to be a very high-scoring game. Joe Mixon, who has looked fantastic, but taper expectation gets the Jets here. Same with Tony Pollard, who gets New England. They can be stingy. Michael Pittman back in the starting position. Back in the saddle again because Joe Flacco is back in the starting quarterback position. Jaden Reed, Mike Gesicki against Las Vegas, why not? Kyron Williams, Minnesota's defense, and Matt Gay, the kicker. It's 124, and that Kyron Williams, you can run on Seattle, but they do play, it's just one of those divisional matchups, so who knows what could happen. I think, other than maybe... Yeah, no, I mean, I would maybe drop Tony Pollard here and maybe bring up Lad McConkey. I like that matchup, but I get it, man. It's New England. Tony Pollard, I like it. 15 points. Why not? And you're playing Force. You technically should have a win here if you look at just overall. Take away the couple big wins, the average for Forrest hasn't been good. So if I haven't given away my pick just yet, it is going to be close, but not that close. And you're not eliminated from playoff contention for us, but it does put you in the danger zone. But give me Aaron Felch to get his fourth win here in this midseason Week 9 match. Game 3 will feature co-commissioner Aaron Grogg taking on Brock Hudgens, and it has been a bad 2 weeks for co-commissioner, as 2 weeks ago, low scoring caused him to lose that game, and then, of course, we had the injuries going on, but then last week, put up 113 points, still lost, so still sitting at 4-4, right there in the middle pack, taking on, though, the up-and-coming, the red-hot, starts at 0-6, but wins the last 2 weeks, Brock Hudgens, and Brock is showing us why you never give up, you don't ever quit. I'm telling you, I've personally seen someone lose 6 games, then she goes and wins another 7, loses the last game, still goes 7-7, gets a 6th seed, and then goes to the championship game only to lose by mere points. Her name's Cindy Spurgeon. Work League happened. Okay, one of many. And as I said, in this game, it is going to be a close projections within 6 points, but it does favor the underdog, Brock Hudgens. So let us go ahead and break it down. And it looks like T. Higgins has a projection to play. I think, personally, as a Chase Brown owner, I would hope that this would actually happen, because it's going to open up the running game for him a little more. And I think, actually, if you're a newly acquired Jamar Chase owner, things seem to work out when both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are on the field together. Nevertheless, right now he's on your bench monitoring that health. Joe Burrow gets lost. It's a great matchup with Las Vegas, so this could be juicy points. Rachaad White and Alvin Kamara, running backs 1 and 2. We're going to definitely taper expectations because of Rachaad White getting Kansas City, but Alvin Kamara gets Carolina. He could put up enough points for them both. Garrett Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, wide receivers 1 and 2. And we saw, hey man, Jerry Jeudy all of a sudden became a nice little flex play, and Garrett Wilson still had all those targets. Will it happen? That's what you want to see. Consistency. Will Garrett Wilson continue to get the volume over Devonta Adams? Tucker Kraft gets Detroit. And like I said, I love when Green Bay and Detroit play. It is always high scoring. The big thing here, Tyler Boyd, you're just hoping for a touchdown, and I get it with your wide receiver rows, but man, when you're healthy, it's going to be fun. Houston defense and Young Ho Koo, the kicker, the projection 108, but you're falling, trailing, I should say, by 6 points, at least projection-wise, to the 114 that is Brock Hutchins, and it looks like Sam Darnold will regain the control for the quarterback over Tua here in this game. So sacrificing the stack, I see, but hey, no risk it, no biscuit. And when you're this low playing in a tough opponent who is injured, you kind of luck out here. You know, do everything to get the win. We saw that with Forrest and Brock last week, and I say keep it going. Devon Achane and Rico Dowdle, really hoping Rico Dowdle will just say, okay, you're the starter. We obviously don't have a very good running game, but you are the best that we got. And then, of course, Devon Achane, big game. And like I said, Buffalo, you can run on them, you can score on them. I think this could be a game where we're like Mostert works out again for Jack. And obviously Achane here, but the Dolphins moving forward could be tougher than you think. Keenan Allen and Tyreek Hill, wide receivers 1 and 2. Like we said, we're sacrificing the stack here for the matchup, and I definitely don't like Keenan Allen. I think, we could go to the waiver wire. I mean, man, I hate to say it. It's a great matchup with Arizona. He could get this double-digit points. It's just, I hate how I love Keenan Allen. I drafted into him last year. I think over the course of history, I would probably have him. I probably had him on half of my teams. It's just, this is not the Keenan Allen that we've seen in the past, and I just don't like it. Don't like it. Trey McBride, on the other hand, gets Chicago. I think this is going to be a fun day. Gabe Davis, if there's no Brian Thomas, and hey, even with Christian Kirk out, this might be an opportunity. And as we just said, no risk it, no biscuit, and there's not really a lot to work with given your injuries. Of course, Mike Evans not in this game, and Jaylen Warren on a bye. Philadelphia's defense and Bates, the kicker, it's 114. So I think you have a solid play here, Brock, and I think that it is very possible it is going to be very close. I had to go to the power. It was one of those, I just kind of went to the power rankings, and they're, wouldn't you know, they're right next to each other. We'll talk about that later, but I said I would wait until I've seen it, and I'm seeing it. Kamish is banged up. It's going to be a rough time right now. T. Higgins, crucial. Will he play? Will he not? Could determine the outcome of this game. But if I have to choose, I am going to go ahead and pick by the slightest of slights. Give me the upset here with Brock beating co-commissioner here in Week 9. Game 4 will feature yours truly, Capitan Joe Johnson, taking on he who shall not be named, that which is forever unclean, Mr. Stinky Evan Coles. And this game right now is only within half a point, but I have not slotted a kicker yet. That will change. It'll give me about 6 to 8 points. So still a rather close projected game, that is because I am dealing with major buys here. I lose my kicker. Potentially losing Brian Thomas, depending on how severe that chest injury is. It does look like he's limited in practice. I actually might get him back. Tyler Lockett may not play. So I'm dealing with all kinds of wide receiver question marks right now. Thank God my running back core is intact here. Same for you, dealing with injury yourself on the wide receiver front. Brandon Ayuk a couple weeks ago goes down. In this one, Jameson Williams gets suspended. But then other than that, you're pretty much ready to go. I will say no Najee Harris, and that might be, that's huge, as he's just been on fires. Clearly, as we said, regained his position. So it kind of explains how we are so close here this week, Evan. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and break the matchup down like we need to. We know what's going to happen. I scored 104 points. I felled the number one team in the league, but hey, why not? We'll take the time. We'll take the time. It's fine. Kyler Murray, who's going to have a huge game against Chicago. He is on fire. Last 2 weeks, over 20 points. This all may change. It really just depends on what my wide receiver situation looks like, because I want to run 3 wide receivers this week against you, just because I have really good matchups if my wide receivers can play. So Chase Brown, at least for now, James Conner, running backs 1 and 2, but possibility Chase Brown hits the bench, and I might bring up my wide receivers. We'll see. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Romeo Doubs, running backs 1 and 2. Romeo Doubs almost 100% will not be in this game. It looks like Chris Olave is good to go. So Chris Olave definitely is coming up off the bench and will replace Doubs. That'll actually give me another 4 points. So plus the kicker, that's anywhere from 10 to 12 points. Now the projection is really starting to stretch. You can see why I only made us the number 4 game here. Mark Andrews has been on fire the last 4 weeks now. I spaced on that. It's not a particularly good matchup with my Broncos, who are dominating in air protection. But hey, you know what? I'm not going to run Schultz tonight. Maybe I should, but I'm not going to run Schultz tonight. I get there's no Stephon Diggs, but it's the Jets, and the Jets, if I'm going to play 2 tough defenses, then I'm just going to play the tight end I feel is better, and Mark Andrews is better. So, fingers crossed, man. National Tight Ends Day. Yeah, okay. Jonathan Taylor, who has had 100 yards in all but, I think, 1 game, just needs to keep it going against Minnesota. Should be fine, especially with Joe Flacco. I'm so happy. Everyone who is invested in Indianapolis's offense should be licking their lips and just thanking the fantasy gods that Joe Flacco is back. I'm so happy, because now it gets better. Michael Pittman gets better. Josh Downs can be started. I don't remember who has him. I know I'm going to cover it eventually, but dude, start Josh Downs this week and win your game this week, man. It's going to be awesome. So I'm all in on Indianapolis now that Joe Flacco is back. Kansas City's defense. So I'm just banking on and hoping that, just lots that injury, it's going to be, and Kansas City has a great defense. And like I said, I'll replace my kicker when I know what my injury situation looks like as we get towards the, latter part of the week here. Let's flip the script to you, Forever Unclean, as Patrick Mahomes is coming out again. Thank you. Okay, I'm totally comfortable with that. 0 problems. Please do. Thank you. I'm done trying to convince you and will not do so. I appreciate the start. Josh Jacobs and Zach Charbonnet. Yeah, Josh Jacobs, Detroit, could be a nice day here. Banged up, monitoring that. Does look like he's going to play. Charbonnet, touchdown dependent. Hope he falls in the end zone. Justin Jefferson, Christian Watson. Yeah, I am not looking forward to Justin Jefferson. Indianapolis's defense can be had. This could be 20 points plus happening. He could make up for Christian Watson's points, but I definitely Christian Watson, touchdown dependent, 4th option, maybe even 5th. I would say 4th option there. Njoku, unfortunately, I'm really just I think he's going to have a great day. The volume is there, but the Chargers have like the sixth best defense or something. It's crazy how good their defense is. So maybe tapering expectation here, but the volume alone makes Njoku dangerous. Sterling Shepard, touchdown dependent. So lots of boom or bust, but given the injuries in your wide receiver here, that is the case. New York defense, which you will see. I mean, it could be rough for Houston, but I still think Houston pulls this game out, and I hope they do because I'm so sick of Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I just want them to go away. Tucker, the kicker, it is, like I said, right now, half a point. By the time I'm done fielding a full team, it'll be upwards of 10 or 12. The projection doesn't matter. All that really matters is that you're playing Final Boss. Evan, you're forever unclean. You're horrible at fantasy. You clearly have proven that you can't get better. You're in a room of learned doctors, educated men, and this is the dribble you put before us. Sterling Shepard, really? I mean, Christian Watson, Zach Charbonnet. This is pathetic. You dishonor your father. You dishonor your mother. They smell of elderberries. And you dishonor the league by your piss poor play. Some people have contacted me and offered to pay me to kick you out of the league so that we could hire a former, very old Soviet space chimp who we all would genuinely think could play better fantasy football than you. So, just understand, as many have come before you, get the fuck off my lawn and let's move on. Now we start to move into the upper tier matches. Our game 5 here in week 9 features the 4-4 Chandler Taylor taking on 5-3 Derek Ash. And these two guys are right next to each other. And what does Chandler has learned how to play this game, boys and girls, and play it well as he picks up another monster piece to his offense. He throws another Diddy freak party. I don't know what you're doing. You call up Josh and you're like, let's have a freak party. And somehow you walk away with David Montgomery and Zach Ertz. And then you call up Jack Little Raven. You're like, hey man, come over to my house. We'll just have a Diddy freak party. And then, Jack wakes up in his underwear and his butt hurts. And that says a lot about you, but you still walk away with Jamar Chase. Holy shit. You have, congratulations. You've made the semifinals. You are one of the most dominant teams. Not only do you now have one of the most dominant running back cores, you've got a absolutely depth set wide receiver core. Yeah, you're running with the 3 running backs. Waddle can come in and out. But yeah, the Scary Terry and Jamar Chase, this is crazy. Your projection is 128, but don't put anything past. Let me tell you, you are playing Mr. Consistency, longtime veteran Derek Ash. He having some troubles, much like me, with the quarterback position. I'm glad to know that for once in like what seems like half a decade that my quarterback situation is stable, or at least it feels that way. But yes, definitely dealing with some quarterback woes, a little bit of injury, some things maybe not going perfectly, but you're sitting in the driver's seat. You're positive. You're in the top 6, so do not underestimate your opponent. Chandler, Derek definitely can absolutely wipe the floor with anyone any week. Let's break this match down. Chandler will throw out Bo Nix, and what a great player, top 10 quarterback, Bo Nix, running all over the place, night and day from the beginning of the season, and gets Baltimore. They're going to be playing from behind, so I love the play here. I get no Brock Purdy due to the bye week here. Bijan Robinson, DeAndre Swift, great matchups with Dallas and Arizona. This is juicy matchups all the way around. Scary Terry, Jamar Chase in that newly acquired trade. They get Las Vegas and the Giants. It's going to be there's 80 to 100 points, but just between your top 5 starting players. Good Lord. Zach Ertz is going to have a great day against the Giants, too. David Montgomery has been fantastic. Between him and Gibbs, they're both top 10 running backs. And like I said, I love everything here in this Green Bay-Detroit game. Except Christian Watson. Don't like him. Atlanta's defense and Will Lutz, the kicker. Yeah, man. You've got options even if you wanted to flex a wide receiver, obviously with Waddle and Jordan Addison. Obviously, the Waddle will be your only choice here, but you with no Freiermuth and then no Purdy. This is it, man. You're set up. You're ready to go. And this I'm really curious to see what this team looks like this week because I think you've really changed the status quo of the league with this trade and have thrown yourself into the top 4. So I'm curious to what we're going to see point-wise from this team. Already in the top 5 because I pushed him out this week or last week, is our Mr. Consistency, Derek Ash. And you're going to do everything you can to make sure that Chandler knows his place here and that you have established a long reign. And that's Justin Herbert, which I do like here against Cleveland. And it just feels like the Chargers, too, are kind of picking things up. Derrick Henry and Brian Robinson, running backs 1 and 2. We're monitoring Brian Robinson, but if he plays, you have a great matchup. I would say taper expectation a little bit here for Derrick Henry in this game because of Denver's defense, but like we discussed earlier, that offense running through him and Lamar Jackson, I just, we're not hitting 20 points this week. Amon St. Brown and Malik Neighbors, wide receivers 1 and 2. We get Green Bay and Washington. Man, I tell you what, this Washington New York Giants game is going to be big for both of these owners, and the outcome should be quite interesting. Turd Ferguson, it's a funny hat, gets Atlanta, and it's, dude, both you guys. I mean, this is just be glad, Fantasy League, that both these guys have to play each other, because I think anybody who plays Chandler and anybody who plays Derek probably going to lose this week, and very well that both of these owners are the highest scoring owners in between each other. One of you guys is going to take a high point loss. Kyle Pitts will be the flex here, and man, you're doing it to me, Derek. Oh, I hate it. You know what you do. You know what you do. You know what's going to happen 2 minutes from now because you do this shit. And I hate it. And it's like, I get it. Odunze hasn't worked out. Jonathan Brooks isn't going to be starting. Be glad. Yeah, we're not flexing Bucky Irving. But McMillan, man, bring McMillan up and start him over Kyle. I hate this. And I don't like it. So you're still going to score high. I know it because this is what you do, and it's not the playoffs. If it's not the playoffs, it might be even worse. But this game, 128 to 123. I have to pick. This is going to be really close. Both of you guys are, in the upper echelons of the power rankings this week, obviously with the acquisition of Jamar Chase. But I hate to say it, Derek. I think that Chandler's team is much more powerful than we might give it credit for, especially with that trade for Jamar Chase. And I think it's one of the reasons that you will lose here in Week 9. So give me Chandler Taylor to get the upset over Mr. Consistency here this week. Game 6 gives us Jordan Payne, who is sitting at 4-4. And comes off of a win last week, taking on undefeated Brennan Scala 8-0. I don't have to tell you how many games he's won in a row. The lone man at the top of the mountain will take on somebody trying to get inside that 6th seed, and we all want it to happen. I hate to say it, Brendan, 0 to hero may be good for you, but it sure as hell pisses the rest of us off. So whether we like it or not, we're going to all be behind Jordan Payne this week. But, you get to a point, especially now that you have certified yourself. You've punched your ticket into the playoffs, so it doesn't matter how the rest of the season goes. You're in. The one thing that's nice, if you keep winning, then the people below you take losses at some point in time. And so that really makes it tighter in the space below you. So I don't need you going undefeated, though. We've never had that happen, and I don't want it to happen. So whether I like it or not, am definitely behind Jordan Payne this week. But let's break it down. Let's see if that's what's going to happen. Josh Allen coming in because you traded Jaden Daniels away for a person with broken knees and someone you can't play anymore. Their season's done. You did that. So I just want to know, Jordan, what were you promised? $200, 30%, 25% for giving up the number one quarterback who throws 6-second Hail Mary touchdowns to score 22 fantasy points. You did that. You created that. Maybe willingly. We'll never know. Erroneous. Anyway, Chuba Hubbard, Nick Chubb, broke knees Nick Chubb come in as running backs 1 and 2. And who knows, man, I'm starting to feel, and tell me what you think, that Chuba Hubbard may just end up with this role for the end of the year. And I think if you're a Chuba Hubbard, I don't actually have anything in Carolina except for Deontay Johnson in one league, not this one. Where I think I'd be okay with Chuba Hubbard just, finishing out my season here. A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, wide receivers 1 and 2. Yeah, I love it. And, we talked about it, waiting to be healthy and be ready to go. We're in the win column last week. Can you keep it going? Obviously, that's the idea. The stack, Dalton Kincaid, Miami. We'll see what happens. It's just, now that it's not National Tight Ends Day, watch all the tight ends come crashing back down to earth. Devin Singletary for the Giants here, which is a little surprising. I get that Tyrone Tracy's a little banged up, but still holds the projection. Maybe there's something I haven't read. He hasn't made the practices or something. But yeah, either way, whoever is going to start that game is who you're going to run with. Now, maybe if no Brian Thomas, you bring up Washington here off the bench. We'll see. New Orleans defense and Butker, the kicker. I like the sneaky. Watch that on the nose. I see what you're doing there, Jordan. New Orleans defense, I picked him up in another league myself. I think it's a very sneaky, very good defensive play. And watch it be a difference. This is how you win here. This is Jordan being sneaky. Okay, he's not done. Brennan, don't put anything past this man. Okay, Lamar Jackson gets Denver. Taper your expectation. Okay, I think we're on fire. Our defense has been on fire. The offense is finally catching up. So I hope we put it into Denver or Baltimore. But just taper your expectation. I could see this being a teens game for Lamar, maybe not a 20-point game. James Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, running backs 1 and 2, and if Ramondre Stevenson is going to get 20 carries a game against Tennessee, okay, sure, we'll take all that all day. And then you just hope that, it's clear that Buffalo's going to run the game. So if they get up in this game against Miami and it doesn't turn into a shootout, James Cook could have a great day here. CeeDee Lamb and Drake London. Now, CeeDee Lamb I think is another big week this week. Just need Drake London to join in on the fun. Noah Fant is your tight end. So, I mean, with the way the rest of your team's been playing, who cares? Get your 5-6 points. There it is. That's what I've been waiting to see this name. And it's like, yes, I get you got Shakir. Yeah, Zach Moss has lost his position to Chase Brown, but yes, Josh Downs, who is going to have a monster day against Minnesota with Joe Flacco throwing the ball. I love this. This could be this, and it's like, look at these two owners, sneaky little plays, but I think Josh Downs is not sneaky. If you have Josh Downs in another league, if he is available in another league and you need a wide receiver, go pick this man up, start him, and win your week. It's one of those things. Cincinnati, the defense. Brandon Aubrey, the kicker, 127-115. Jordan trying to get into the upper echelons of the playoff tier. Brennan trying to remain the lone man on the mountain. They are so close in power ranking. I can't wait to show you when we get to it. It's 4-4. It's 8-0. It's super close. But I want my heart, dare I say it, you colluding son of a bitch. My heart is with you, Jordan. But until Brennan shows me otherwise, give me Brennan Dangerous Scala to get a win and maintain his undefeated run here in Week 9. One game left to go, so that means it's time for Game of the Week.
I'm ready! I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah! Wubba lubba dub dub!
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And our game of the week will feature our rookie, Jonathan Taylor, who has lost 2 games in a row. He still remains our lone 6-2, taking on defending champion, but no longer undefeated. It is 7-1, fresh off a loss. I only wonder who it could be to. Austin Allen, and this game is going to be fun. It has been a game of the week for both of these owners recently, but I mean, we're like I said, it's mid-season. We're in the trenches, dude. There's no elbow room. We're jostling, and all these teams. Look where we're at. I mean, you want to talk about a prime example. Josh and Jack at the bottom of the list, they're playing each other. Okay, Jonathan and Austin, top of the list here, playing each other. Chandler, Derek, Jordan, Brennan. I mean, all of these. This is prime time grind time. So important wins. You can still take losses in the midseason. I'm not saying you can't. But it's like, and you want to take your losses early, and you want to take your losses in the midseason if you have to. But so important for positioning, because it's really where we start getting ready for the playoff push. And then, of course, where it matters the most, those last 4 weeks, you want to be in a prime position to just make a beeline for those playoffs. So a huge possible rematch in the playoffs with these two owners. Let us break it down, as Jonathan Andrews is going to have an interesting matchup here. No Geno Smith, no JSN, so only Ken Bone Walker of his triple stack. And so interesting. Look at the owners trying to win without their stacks. Let me tell you, there is so much that goes into the scrutiny of your lineup, and I think it's hard to pass up on a stack. It's something I don't do easily, and so for people to pass up on their stacks is impressive, but it shows you what you got to do to find a win. So Matthew Stafford with a great, look at even with the matchup with Seattle, but you see that Matthew Stafford, when he has all of his weapons back, it becomes a different game. I honestly don't know that I would play Matthew Stafford. I think I do like Geno in this game. I know it's been a little rough, but the Rams defense isn't someone I'm scared of. So if I may make a suggestion, Mr. Andrews, bring up Geno and he's been passing with Ken Walker so much, and in a passing touchdown, which I think is completely possible in this game, is 10 points. That's huge. It's huge to get those stacked touchdowns. Brees Hall's got to have a better game. Houston, tapering expectation. We just talked about Ken Bone Walker, and then the thought of bringing Geno. I think we bring Geno up here, but I understand the desire to play Matthew Stafford. Devonta Adams and D-Hop are wide receivers 1 and 2. We'll see who gets the volume in this game with the Jets. Will D-Hop be serviceable? You certainly hope so. Brock Bowers, fine. Yeah, Cincinnati, great matchup. Kareem Hunt, projected 17 points. I mean, I guess, it was only 13 last week. I didn't think it looked spectacular. But it does almost feel like the old Kansas City Kareem Hunt, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. You're just missing Tyreek Hill, and they're back, and they're still putting it together. They're still making it happen. So why not? You traded T. Higgins away from him, so you got to start him. Am I right? Tennessee, the defense, bold play. Look at the shitty defenses getting played just because of the matchup. I'm telling you, we got a intelligent group of owners here in this league, except Forrest, or maybe it's not. Forrest doing a great job right now. He's not even the worst team, except Jack. I'm going to stop picking on Forrest because Forrest is actually doing his job. And we got really smart owners here in the Fantasy League of Ordinary Gentlemen, except Jack. Yeah. Who goes to Chandler's Diddy Freak parties. And Jake Elliott, the kicker, you bastard, you were supposed to leave him on the waiver wire for me. All right, let's go to Austin Allen, who, not to rub it in too much, but does falter to your commissioner last week. In case you missed it, you should go and watch the episode, both, the preview and the recap, just so you know that I knew, that we all knew, that you knew, that I knew, that Austin couldn't handle this. El Capitano. Can he handle Mr. Andrews, Jaden Daniels? Listen, you're not going to like this, Jonathan. You see, Jaden Daniels throws Hail Marys with 6 minutes left and will score 20 fantasy points on you. So he gets the Giants. It's a great matchup, man. It's going to be great. You're looking forward to that. Saquon Barkley, who should be on Forrest's team, is going to put up double digits on you because it's Jacksonville. Jareem Gibbs gets Green Bay. Yeah, man, I imagine. Now, I will say, Green Bay does have a very good defense. They're underrated. I think they go under the radar in fantasy as well. But this is just one I feel we're going to have a lots of points. Lots of points for everybody, except Christian Watson. Right? Right. Devonta Smith and Darnell Mooney. 20% target share. Darnell Mooney for now season-ended injury. Stephon Diggs and broke knees. Nick Chubb. Just in case anybody was wondering how Austin and the rich keep getting richer, here we go. I will say great. Yeah, more great matchups. Jacksonville, Dallas. All right. Jonnu Smith. Ooh, interesting tight end play. Didn't expect to say his name this week, but a good matchup with Buffalo. Yeah, I like the projection. Javonte Williams gets Baltimore, and even with the volume, you see that running the ball struggles. McLaughlin able to vulture a touchdown, so you just are really hoping for touchdown dependency here with Williams. You do have a couple of options. I wonder if Wan'Dale Robinson wouldn't be a better flex play here than Winston. Maybe if Quentin Johnson does play. So you do have some options that I think are better than Javonte. At least I do like Wan'Dale. I wouldn't play anybody else, but I do like Wan'Dale Robinson. You know what you don't have to worry about, Jonathan? George Kittle and his fucking 24 fucking points. That's what, because he's on a bye. He literally can't play. Watch him still score 20. Watch him be slotted over Jonnu Smith. Watch him still score 24 points. National Tight Ends Day. That takes care of our Week 9 2024 matchups. Let's go ahead and take a look at our power rankings. And as you can see, no surprise here. Austin Allen sitting at the top. Austin Allen sitting at the top, number 1. Brennan Scala, Aaron Felch, Jonathan Andrews, Derek Ash and Jonathan or Jordan Payne round out our top 6. So if you're playing any one of them, it's going to be tough here. Chandler and Evan. So even my opponent's sitting there right in the middle. Forrest, I told you, Forrest nowhere even near the worst team in the league anymore. Whether it's by the grace of the gods, luck, injury, what have you, Forrest is dead middle pack team. So when I tell you that you should be careful, Aaron, in this game, there's a reason you've played with the man long enough now. There's a reason we call him Heart of the Cards. You saw what he can do, and it could be, again, if Jameis Winston scored another 30 points, I wouldn't be surprised. Falling down Kokamish there to number 10, but like I said, Brock right there, number 11. So this game is going to be close. I told you this game is going to be close. And then look at Derek and Chandler. I mean, they're right there, 7-5. This is really close. Okay, look at Jonathan and Austin, 1-4. So we've got not only top tier teams playing each other, at least ranking wise, but then we have power. Just the matchups this week. Be glad you're not playing some of these guys. Okay, like Austin and Jonathan. This could be another one of these guys taking a high point loss. Jack, even though I made fun of you, you're not even, at least this week you got matchups. You're not the worst. Josh Johnson, the Johnson boys, back down at the bottom, at least power ranking wise. I imagine it's because I have Chris Olave on my IR, technically still, and then they don't know if Brian Thomas is going to play. So I probably will move up a bit, but the fact that they still got me down here at the bottom for the power rankings, woof. But find out who where your opponent is. Does that make you feel better or worse? Doesn't really matter because you're going to have to play him anyway. Just cross your fingers, strap yourself to the mast, and hope you make it through the storm. Ladies and gentlemen, take a moment, like and subscribe if you didn't do it earlier. We hope you enjoyed it. Everyone, unless, of course, your name is Evan Coles, you have yourself a great week. Good luck in your matchups. Evan, get the fuck off my lawn. Everybody else, peace out. Take care. Happy Halloween!